HHDG.
Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media Podcast. And shout out to our Facebook group, Hip Hop Discussion Group HHDG, checking in, as well as everyone on YouTube checking in around the world. Shout out to our HHDG Media Inc. company, who makes it possible every week, every month, every year. That's myself, Rock Vader KB, Skelly Top, T Smith, and the Mayor. Now, before we get into our guest for tonight, the dope project for 2022, I gotta say, two of the members from the Beat Junkies, I'm definitely proud to have them on here, chop it up with them, and we got a lyricist on here that's definitely been on his come up and grinding. I've been paying attention before his album Nomad came out with Ice Rocks. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Like I said, definitely some dope guests we have tonight. XP the Marxman coming out of Los Angeles. Like I said, he's been grinding. He's got that gritty style. He's speaking from how he came up, letting us know, also letting know about his heritage, his Mexican heritage, which I definitely, appreciate putting that in the music. He's worked with some notables, Rock Marciano, for one. Damn. I mean, that right there is like to be recognized early and be working with him. Whole production for an album. That's dope right there. For y'all that don't know, you need to go check that out. That Keep Firing joint. We definitely want to talk a little bit about that as well. And as far as Rhettmatic, man, Beat Junkies. Rhettmatic's been doing this thing with the sound check, and I say this the same way I said with Babu: don't sleep on his production. This man got some beats. And then D Styles, man, it is always a pleasure to have D Styles back on here, and just D Styles, wanting to produce more and more now is that's a blessing. Definitely a blessing. I mean, he did the work with Noah the Flood, got the joint with Widowmaker, got the joint right here with Rhettmatic and XP. So without further ado, repping the West Coast, Cali, we have D Styles. Peace.
Peace, Ian. Good to see you.
Definitely. We have also Rhettmatic.
Yo.
How you doing, man?
How you doing, sir?
Dope. And also XP the Marxman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Pleasure to meet you, man.
Definitely. Or should I be saying hola? Or
Yeah.
kamusa?
Thanks. Yeah.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good, man. I was up in that traffic too, man. That's always a factor out here in LA, man. It's like anything or just time. I mean, honestly, man, I feel like it's everywhere though, traffic is everywhere, but LA is just a 20-minute drive can end up being an hour and a half kind of shit, so
yeah, that's crazy too.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've been to the East Coast too, and certain parts, I mean, pretty much everywhere, everybody trying to go somewhere, so it's like, you got to plan accordingly, but I think we did a good job, considering the shit that was up against us, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yep.
Cool. So let's talk, a little bit about the past, let the people that are listening and tuning in know a little bit about y'all. Let's start with XP. Tell us about, the early influences with hip hop for you.
Man, I'm a Tupac baby and I'm a Wu-Tang baby. So I guess that's why you get what you're hearing. right now. I'm just a I like to say, a bastard of like 1,000 MCs, you know what I mean? Because I'm just a product of good hip hop. And I guess growing up in the 90s, when you could just press a play on a project and a lot of the joints that were really the joints weren't even on the radio. So they would put like, the more catchier shit on the radio at that time. But I guess like I'm from the era where you could indulge in a whole album and rock that album for months to a year, you know what I mean, until the artist was ready to drop again, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
my early influences, man, are just artists that come from the essence, and they definitely carved their own niche within the culture, and I feel like I want to, I've been trying to follow that blueprint, more so the hard work over the glam, the glitz. You know, I'm I'm Mexican, man, so I kind of just work hard in everything I do, man. I kind of just have that in my genes to just
I was gonna say it's
really
in the
go
blood.
hard. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I guess just being from the West and being a 90s baby, growing up here in the 90s, hip hop and gangster rap, whatever you want to call it, I say was just the soundtrack to just life, man. And at that time, East Coast, West Coast, that was the shit,
Yeah.
and I guess seeing when like Cash Money came up and all that stuff. Honestly, I I respect it, but I was never truly a fan of that. When like other artists, or like I'm not gonna say artists, other kids at that time were listening to music. They were listening to what was hot. You know what I mean? I guess that's just what it was. But me, I was more like listening to 36 Chambers, because I guess I caught wind of a lot of that stuff later on, like not too late, but maybe like a couple years after it dropped. So I
Yeah.
was pretty much tuning into what that was, and then going back on a lot of the catalogs, man. And so I guess I just absorbed all that from the 90s, and I'm trying to pull that essence into where we're at now. You know what I mean? So that's where you get this sound from, is just being a sponge to the 90s rap shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
When the two people like Tupac and then saying Wu Tang, they always have a message, and
Right.
there's always speaking from where they came from, and that's what
Right.
you do in your music almost all
I
the time.
appreciate
I
you.
listen to your projects.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man. Yeah, I definitely try to um expose where I'm from, who I am, and all that in this day and age, because I feel, personally, on this new wave of artistry, I feel like there's not really a lot of Latino voices in it, where I come from. So I definitely want to be one of those pivotal artists that is on the rise, because I feel like coming up out of the West, we had Kid Frost, we got Sick Jack and stuff, and I feel like having those brothers that have like turned the tide of West Coast hip hop and like how it should sound. I feel like I want to be that next person. I'm gonna be that next person of showing people how I get busy. You know what I mean? And that's that's pretty much where it's at, man. It's just always representing where I'm from and trying to tell my side of the story, just like everyone else, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Rhettmatic,
Yes, sir.
uh, double platinum. Tell us about that group.
Wow. Double platinum.
Man,
Oh, what?
oh, dang. Well, that's so D can contest to this and stuff. So in California, there's obviously there's Northern California, Southern California. D's from up north, from the Bay Area. I'm from I'm from the LA, well, Cerritos to be exact, which is part of LA County and stuff. So Double Platinum is my mobile DJ group. in the '80s. That's kind of like like a lot of us, Northern California or Southern California. If you're a DJ, you were in a mobile DJ group, um, especially if like if you can tell, Dean and myself are Filipinos, so Filipino Americans and stuff, and we grew up. A lot of Filipinos were DJs, or if we're DJs, we're in a mobile DJ group. So it's kind of like I wouldn't say a precursor to what the beat junkies are, but for us, at least in LA, we all grew up listening to in the '80s and stuff. We all grew up listening to the 1580 K-Day Mix Masters, Uncle Jam's Army. So the K-Day Mix Masters is basically Tony G, Julio G, Joe Cooley, DJ Aladdin. It was like an all-star, and they were spinning on 1580 AM K-Day. So that's our LA's 24-hour rap station per se. We played everything though, but it was like it broke a lot of East Coast artists. I mean, whatever was coming from L.A. at the time was behind, obviously from New York, so we would get things late and stuff like that. But we also we listened to the K-Day Mix Masters, Uncle Jam's Army, which is Egyptian Lover, Roger Clayton, rest in peace. So I mean, in terms of mobile DJs, at least in LA, Uncle Jam's Army was they're the ones who were like kind of setting the precedence for LA, whether if you're black, Latinos, even the Asians, uh, and there's always an inside joke that a lot of people don't know about the California West Coast scene. uh, Besides being predominantly black and Latinos, Asians, let alone Filipinos, were were very active in the hip hop scene, whether Northern California or Southern California. And the little joke would be within the grapevine is the Filipinos are like the Puerto Ricans of the West Coast. So, but yeah, that's that. Yeah. Anyways, getting back, Double Platinum was was my mobile DJ group that I was in. Coming up. D, what's your mobile DJ group's name?
I had a few crews, but my main crew was called Sound City, and then Sound City got into gang banging and all that stuff, and it was weird, Ian, because back in the day, like the late '80s, you were part of a DJ crew, but say you went to go do like a house party like in a different city, you would have beef with the other cats. So
Yeah, I
so
got
so
you.
yeah, we became gangs basically. It wasn't Bloods or Crips. It was just you just had to roll with the pack. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just to watch your back. So that was the era that we came from. You know what I mean?
I was kind of the same thing too. Also in LA, I mean, Bloods and Crips, at the essays, but the Asian gangs too as well. Like if you were from a certain city, you go to, like T says, you go to a house party and it's like, oh, are you from Long Beach, or you're West Covina? They think you're from a certain gang. That's in the within the Filipino scene and stuff. So, but yeah, I, I during the time it was like personal gang banging, but then shit just got crazy and stuff. Like so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Yeah, it's amazing. You're a whole coast away, but the similarities of repping a neighborhood and also your background always comes into play pretty much the same way.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, facts.
Yep.
That's facts, man.
Yeah.
So I spoke with D Styles before about his influences. Rhettmatic, tell us your influences coming up.
Uh, yeah. Like I said, growing up listening to Katie Mix Masters, Uncle Jam's Army, um, what do you call it? Of course, all the like Grandmaster Flash. Uh, I remember hearing obviously like the world famous Supreme Team with Malcolm McLaren. Hearing Buffalo Gals, and then especially when Herbie Hancock dropped Rocket, and you hear about Ramexer DST and stuff. Especially when a lot of us really, really were like uh, got really into scratching really because of at least from the West Coast side in terms of the era that D and I come from in terms of the technical scratch is seeing DSD scratching on Saturday Night Live. And so I was like, oh my, so that's how scratching is and stuff. Of course, you see Wild Style and Star Wars here and there, if you're lucky enough and stuff. But it's like, but just hearing, hearing what you hear on the radio on a record, but you never see, there were not really any videos yet. I mean, they were, but it's just slowly. We get stuff late, whether you're in the Bay Area or in LA and stuff. Whatever's coming from the East Coast, but that's. I mean that. I mean, Grandmaster Flash. And then in terms, of course, like down the line, as it progressed, like Joe Cooley, Cash Money, Dr. Dre, uh, uh, um, uh, Howie T. Of course, going up to like I said, Primo and stuff. I mean, any basically a DJ producer is an influence in terms of that. Also, in terms of just like at least for me, like D and I were, we're pretty old and shit. So we would, we came from the era where like we did at least two out of the four elements in hip hop. You either you DJ, but you also just, you did some rap or you dance or you rap. Well, at the time there ain't no Asian rappers and shit because so we didn't really there was rarely any MCs coming up. At least I mean I don't know. I can't speak for D in the Bay Area, but at the time there weren't really that many Asian MCs, but there's mostly whether the DJs, graph artists, B boys, and poppers and stuff like that. Locally wise, I was in terms of DJ wise, I was influenced by three cats where I grew up. Two were African Americans. One's half Filipino, half white. One name was Arabian Night. He was a former KD mix master, but he's now an MC by the name of goes by Psycho from a group called Insane Poetry. So he used to be a DJ. But now he's an MC. Kind of one of the forefathers of horrorcore rap. Even before Gravediggers, he was working with Rodney on Joe Cooley and stuff. So another guy named Scratchmatic goes by he changed his name to DJ Antron. So I was as a joke, I was named after him and shit. So he was like a local legend. And the last but least, real big influence, a guy in our crew, DJ Curse. He's like 1 year older than me. He was like our Qbert at least in the LA and stuff before even we knew about Q. And he, to me, that was like kind of like seeing someone that can cut it up, that was Asian, that looked like me, and got respect within the Black and Latino community. Because it was at the time, like it was hard, like not to sound crazy and stuff, but it was like it was on some 8 Mile shit. You got to really prove and stuff. And I think D can attest to that too, coming up in the Bay. So yeah, those are my pretty much influences. This is like just to name a few.
No, that it's always important to see someone like you and have that influence. It's different, It's just the same way with the way mainstream media in Hollywood was back in the day. It wasn't us that was on the screen. They painted and put their makeup to look like us and stuff like that. But to see someone in your local town, that type of influences make you want to do it even more. So
Right.
I appreciate you giving that type of story right now.
Word.
Yeah, it's fire.
Now, when we speak of graffiti, is this your hand style, Rhettmatic?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it is, dude. Because when you sign one of the records, it looked exactly the same.
It was dead on.
Well, I had help. I had help. I had my man East One did a tag for me, and I just kind of like just he cleaned it up for me and shit like that. It's like okay, cool, word, nothing like that. But yeah, that's my tag for the most part. Yeah.
Oh
Dope,
yeah.
dope, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, don't sleep on D. D can tag too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Facts, facts. Yep, that's
yeah,
facts.
A little
That's
bit,
facts.
just a little.
Man, little Vandal. Little Vandal over
yeah.
there.
When he signed the Creme de la Creme, I was like, that's dope.
Yeah,
And
Oh,
that right
yeah. See,
there.
there it is, homie.
Yeah.
yeah. You got
Surprisingly,
something.
I'm surprised he didn't write no gang tags and shit like that.
No, never that, man.
Mhm. I mean, he did talk about gang banging and stuff. I mean,
Oh man.
That's just
Cool.
growing up on the West Coast, man. Like you walk out your front door, man, and your best homie could be in the gang. You know what I mean? And your
Yep.
family members and shit like that. Even as much as you're not pursuing that shit, like
It's
that
always gonna
shit's
be there.
it's yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Yep.
yeah. I can attest to certain situations growing up where I've been hanging out with my family and had the cops run into the house, and what can you do?
Right.
for sure.
I mean, it's going to be around there. Even if
Right,
your parents could do the best they could do to steer you in the right way, but the
right,
environment
right,
is always going to be there.
right,
True that.
Mhm.
right. Facts.
XP, um, your family,
Yeah.
you are third generation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell us, how it's been, coming up. Have you ever been back and forth to Mexico?
Yeah, I
Visit
was,
any?
I was, yeah, I was just over there today. As a
Okay.
matter of fact. Yeah. Um,
What?
but yeah, man.
Damn, that's why you in traffic, huh?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah,
Damn. No shit.
Órale, Simones.
yeah, yeah, man. Nah, being third generation Mexican in LA's kind of tough, man, because um, my parents were taught to be as American as you can be because it just creates opportunity. But I guess at that time they didn't like my grandparents. They didn't see the hardships that I would endure due to me not knowing my own language. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up in a household that spoke Spanish. When my grandma was around and when I was around my mom, yeah, but you know, growing up with my dad, he was a single parent and shit. Like we didn't speak Spanish in our household, and even when I would go visit my grandparents and shit, it was a lot of Americanized, just the train of thought too. You know what I mean? And I feel like now being that bilingual is better at this point because there was a point where being bilingual in the USA wasn't a good look, and I think that kind of messed up. And obviously I could take it upon myself and I could learn my native tongue, but it's like growing up with it and speaking with it and feeling comfortable with it. That's a different thing, man. And I feel like um, me being a third generation here, and you know, I don't speak Spanish. It's like I have to find my identity here because they don't accept me back home in Mexico, and obviously, I'm Mexican in America, bro. Like they don't accept me here either. So trying to find my place here, um, and be accepted. And I guess I did find a language. I found hip hop, and that's a universal language. I could travel around the world, and which I've traveled overseas, and there's you know a joke I say, like when I was overseas, like I had mad Spanish people, like even Switzerland, like even Swiss people that they speak French, they speak English, they speak Spanish, they speak Italian, like they speak like multi languages, and they're walking up to me and they're just like, they start speaking Spanish, and and they're like, tu cara español. It's like, your face looks, Spanish, like
Hmm.
you speak Spanish. Obviously, yeah, but it's been a tough road for me, man, because even having you know, speaking problems. Like as a kid, I had to go to speech class, like because I was born with a crazy stutter, like crazy. So from years of like when I could start speaking to maybe kindergarten, first and second grade, like I had a crazy. So I had to go to speech class for like so I was in fifth grade I think, and then when once I went to a sixth grade, I was able to hold a conversation because it was crazy, man. I would get super excited and trip over, like I wouldn't be able to get a sentence out at times. But I've had a lot of obstacles up against me when it comes to this art form, man. And I feel like having a stutter and then choosing this as an art form is like just proof that you could do whatever you want to do, man. You know what I mean? You just got to work hard
Yeah.
at it
Yeah.
and develop the skill. And you're not gonna be good at first, so you got to get over the ego and everything like that. You crush the ego, and then you can move forward, man. Because with this hip hop thing, there's a lot of ego that comes attached with it too. And I feel like if you could maintain when to flex the ego and when to hush that shit off, I think you can definitely get yourself to a place of respect and recognition, man. And so yeah, I think man, being third generation here, it doesn't have the perks as it should be, because like I said, man, like when I go order some Mexican food at times, like I you know I get those looks and shit, like, come on, homie, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Speak Spanish.
yeah, it's like, even on the East Coast too, man. Like, when I'm out in New York and shit, man, it's like, Spanish people, they start, speaking to me, and I'm just like, man, I speak hip hop, homie. Like, hold up, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man. It's even with the gangbanging shit too, man. Like, just like Rhett and D said, man. It's like LA. I think just living in California in general, like just having whether it's your cousins or your homies or whatever, like you're just attached to it in some way, man. And it's up to you to really hone in on what is your calling to pull you away from it, because I think you're kind of like automatically inducted into it, without you even knowing, like he said, like he just wanted to be a DJ, so when he pulled up to the spot, just because he was from another spot, it's like you got to carry that with you unknowingly.
Yeah.
And so if growing up here in the 80s and the 90s, I mean, I was born in 86, but I grew up in the 90s in LA, like, you know what I mean, through the gangs, the violence, drugs, all that shit, man. And that's why you see and you hear a lot of that shit in my music, man, because that's just what was around me at that time. But also what you can get from my music too is like there's always some outcome shit. Like I'm not just s- speaking on that shit, like glorifying it, but it's also a thing of like this is what we had to do, but there's also alternative outlets, like, you
Right.
know what I mean? As much as I speak about all that shit, I do yoga almost every other day. So, don't get it switched up, like if I'm just living life as a G and I drink and I like, because man, I'm definitely all about healthy living and mental health and getting out there and just making yourself you know what I mean, just healthy, man, from all aspects, the mind, the body, and the spirit, man. So yeah, man, this is what you get from you know just some Filipinos and a Mexican, from the West Coast that grew up in the midst of this shit. And I think, PST is the perfect example of just a time that we grew up in, them locking in on the beats and shit, and just, I guess, having that energy, honing in on that energy too.
Definitely, definitely.
Dope.
Yeah, I've been actually added yoga to my workouts,
Right,
my daily
right.
workouts of a few years ago because I have a spinal injury. So
Oh, word. Yes.
it actually it helped with the flexibility and the strength as well.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, man. I do that Bikram shit where it's like super hot in the room. It's like
Crazy, right?
120. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like my homie introduced me to it maybe like 3 years ago, man. So like I just been like little by little, but just this year I kind of been hitting it hard like every day, and it's been, you know, on the performance tip, it's been helping me out tremendously. Like I can lock in and I can spit whole songs. Like, D and Rhett, they know what time it is, man. Like,
Yeah.
when we locked in, man, the few times that we have, I just feel like it's been working wonders with just energy, breath control, and locking me in, man. You know what I mean? And I know Rhett does, jujitsu, and you know what I mean. So like, I think we bring in a lot of this energy to the music too. And I think if you don't expel it in other outlets, I think, if you just toss it all into the music, I think a lot of it can get misconstrued at times. You know what I mean? Because you may
That's
seem like
true.
you're mad, upset, or just something that is, you know what I mean? I think you want to be able to have other outlets, to vent, you know what I mean? Because when you bring it all into the music, I just feel like it could get misconstrued and they'll put a label on you real quick, like, oh, yo, he's just, you know, I've seen it happen, man, where it's like, there's hella frustration with the music. And I think if you put it in the music sometimes, a lot of fools will see it like you're just complaining, bro. And like nobody wants to listen to a track where fools are just fucking complaining about shit, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, that shit's been helping out, man, tremendously.
That's great. Yeah, you definitely gotta find your balance.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
So,
Definitely got to do that.
So, now, before we get into Pacific Standard Time, let's talk about Beat Junkie Sound. Um,
The
Rhettmatic.
legendary.
Checks in the mail.
how is it that y'all stay solid for decades now?
man, um, to be honest, like there was a period, where we were not as organized as we are now. We were younger, we were just, party mode or whatever, and so a lot of our focus was on different areas, and we were so scattered. It wasn't until we got older that we realized, man, we're in this for life, man. You know what I mean? There's nothing else we want to do but this. We live this every day. This is us, and we need to be smart about it. We need to be mature, and if we're gonna, make this a business, we need to be, as we have to be as best as we could. You know what I mean? So we didn't get organized. I I mean, Rhett, when would you say we got organized? Like
I would, s-
6 years
I would,
ago?
man, I would say no. Honestly, um, what really sparked it off is in our 20-year anniversary in 2012.
Yeah.
Ah,
Like
okay.
Right.
and like all of us, like D was right. Like we all had our separate whatever, I wouldn't say careers, but everybody was, you know, doing whatever they were doing. Whether it was like, I mean, obviously a lot of us who got married, got kids or responsibilities and stuff. But like, like Babs was like Babu was like he was in Dilated Peoples. I know I'm in the Visionaries. J Rock was like Stone's Throw. Mr. Chalk and J Rock were doing radio on Power 106. They had a show called Friday Night Flavors. They're part of Fantastic Four. Mellow D was doing radio too on a station called 92.3 The Beat with an OG of ours from K Day, Julio G. Um, but eventually got more into the club circuit, like the I don't know what you want to call it, the ball service or like that. I mean, he started doing stuff in Vegas. Rest in peace to DJ AM. He was actually the one that got him to start getting to that circuit and stuff. Short and D, they're also a lot of if you kind of know our history, Short and D are Shortcut and D Styles are members of Invisible Scratch Pickles as well. So
Right.
so when we all got we all still kept in touch, but it was just that you know everyone was doing their thing and stuff. But when the 20-year came around, it was just kind of like, oh shit, 20 years like that. So so when we started putting our 20-year anniversary and actually did, he's like, let's just celebrate it. Um, uh, we were kind of shocked that like we had, like people still wanted to see us rock together because we haven't really all together rocked together on some turntable stuff. And just DJing together and just hang out, whatever, like we used to when we were coming up together. And that kind of like when we realized we also had fans that were younger than our regular fans and stuff, and how like other younger fans that we didn't even know that we exist and shit went to our shows. Like we had like when we did LA, then we did New York, and we did San Francisco, and then we start traveling the world and stuff to to celebrate the anniversary. We were just kind of blown away the reception of it, and then from there, we just like D said, it's like I remember Babu was saying like, man, this is like our second win. Let's do something with this, right? And then eventually, like Mello and myself were starting like trying to like, okay, let's take this, and then we reached out to D, and then eventually, then everybody would just like, okay, like some of us had to take the lead roles in terms of the business side and stuff like that, but all as collectively as for the group and for the brand, we all still put in the work and stuff, and that's yeah, like D said, we're older now. Like we try to do some, like in our 10-year anniversary, we did try to do something, but D was right. We were immature. We didn't know anything. We were just riding whatever, just riding the wave or whatever, whatnot. And that was like, you know, that was like the late '90s, early 2000s and shit like that. So, yeah, man. Sorry for the long-winded question answer, but
Nah, that's cool.
Nah, man, the history is well received, brother.
yeah,
Definitely.
So I mean, yeah, what D says, like we all, once we've seen the what was going on and how people were still checking out for us, that was like, okay, uh, we got nothing, what else we're gonna do? Go back to to a 9 to 5 job and shit. So, but we, and that was kind of like the starter, and from then it just kind of just boom, 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 boom.
That's great. Mm. So were all y'all rocking at the release of the Sure Shot IPA?
More joy is
Yeah,
like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was
Well,
that was crazy, man. That was crazy. Like just looking at Rhett to the left of me and then seeing D, and they're just like, I was like, damn, because like honestly, man, I'm a fan of them. You know what I mean? Like I grew up, freestyling. Like I tell this shit all the time because like I say, you know, everything happens if you work hard enough. You know what I mean? And I feel like to be able to work with the junkies, man, has been a blessing for me because I'm a fan first. So freestyling to rap beats in the early 2000s, you know what I mean, to where we're at now
stop
is like,
bullshit.
it's yeah, it's complete, circle, man. And yeah, man, I've been a fan of the beat junkies. I remember watching the scratch Olympics that they used to have, like the what's it called again? It's the
The
Or
DMT you was talking
DMT.
about?
the DM, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I remember seeing all that stuff, like, back in the day, and then I remember seeing Rhett at like all the shows, Rock the Bells and like shit like that. So I was always in the stands, but always like, projecting it to be like, yo, man, like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work hard enough to where I'm gonna put the people that I revere in the same room with me, man. And that's just what it is, man. And these guys are legends. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember seeing, D with Hubert and shit like that. I'm just like, damn, like these fools are real DJs. These are elite, like world elite. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's humbling, man. For me to
Checks
create
in the
this.
mail.
You know what I mean? With these guys, man, and so it's yeah. I'll give them their flowers all day because they deserve them, man. They've you know they're a pillar in what they do. You know what I mean? They're, the beat, like everybody knows the beat, like everybody I've ever said, the beat, they're like, oh, I heard of the beat junkies, and it comes from either Red, it comes from D, it comes from, Babu, Mr. Child, and like he said, they're all moving, uh, on the solo grind, but they're all a collective and they're all
Yep.
coming together, man. And it was ill, man. That whole show was ill just to see, the support they got. The merch game was on point. Like, right here, check this joint out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's been ill, man. It's been ill. It's been ill. I want to do more shows with these guys because I think we could just
Yeah,
blow
we
the
need
spot
to.
down.
We need
You know what I
to
mean? Blow that shit down, man.
for
Sure.
sure.
Yeah, it was actually dope because that particular event that you talked about, the short shot, it was our re-release of a Beat Junkies IPA beer. So we actually had a craft beer. Shouts to Hip Hop Craft Beer for hooking that up, Beer Tape.
Yep.
But it was funny because, well, ironically, the first time we did it, Chalk wasn't there because his dad passed away, and then this particular run, J Rock wasn't there. He had a gig in I think in New Orleans or something like that, so he couldn't. But it was also the first time that X met D.
Yeah.
We were all
Right.
That's
we were
right.
all. I mean, with the exception of me and X, uh, um, most of the time the conversation between all us three was on either text or email or Zoom per se.
Or
So,
Zoom. Yep.
but then it was the first time we us three performed together and shit. So, and it was cool because like I was handling the beat.
Sick.
Oh, tight. um, I was handling the beats, and D would do the scratch hook. So it was almost on some like it was like our own broke version of main source. Like like
Right.
X was, XP was extra large professor, large professor, and D and me were K cut and Sir Scratch.
So that's
It was
Yeah.
dope. It was really dope. So, and the people, for the first time that we haven't really like actually do a show together, it was fun.
Yeah, it was like we've been rocking together, man. Like, the energy was up, like, the people were, and I think the songs we have, it's like, those shits smack, and the beats are just booming, and we're just, these fools are killing the scratch. It's a real, I think it's a real hip hop, set, and it has real elements. There's no rapping over the song. It's all, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and
Right.
and it's just all it's just all art, man. Like, it's just all art, man. And yeah, I definitely want to do more shows with these guys because I feel like we'll tear it down, man. Definitely.
Definitely. It was all live for sure. You know what I mean? All the mess ups of me scratching or whatever, skips, but that's the beauty of it. You just, you gotta go with it and be spontaneous. You know what I mean? Improvise.
now what sparked the IPA, which I wish I was on the West Coast because I like IPAs. I'm also a stout drinker as well.
Ah.
Well, honestly, so the people that we did it with, Hip Hop Craft, Beer Tape, Beer Thug, they're a little collective and stuff. Proper Glassware. Um, they do a lot of beer collabs with a lot of hip hop artists. They did one with House Shoes. They did one with Blue and Exile. They just did something with Death Row.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
They did
so-
Crime Apple too, I think.
Yeah, they did Crime Apple. So
yeah, that's right.
they did something with. I want to say they did something with the Horsemen, like
Oh, Razkaz, yeah.
Yeah. But like they've always, they did it with the Visionaries, but they always wanted to do something with us, with the Junkies. So I mean, Melody kind of, out of all of us, Melody and D are really like beer drinkers and stuff like that. So they kind of like set it up to a point where we're, let's take some, let's see what we can do, and that's how it kind of sparked it off and stuff.
And that beer smacks, bro.
Yeah, it's good, right?
That shit smacks. Yeah, I drank like 1.5, and I was like, all right,
Mm.
Yeah,
this shit
that's strong.
smacks.
It's
How can
strong.
I get one on the East Coast? That's the question.
Oh, yeah, we gotta mail
Um,
you. We gotta mail you a 4-pack, man. Rhett, you got some at the
yeah.
house?
I got maybe 2 left. I gave almost mine away and shit. So
Okay.
the two. I will see. We'll see. Maybe we can. Maybe Mel's have a hidden stash that we
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
got some.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I definitely, I'd appreciate that. And
Sure.
I knew about the Crime Apple one. I didn't know about the, the Blue and Exile one as
Mhm.
well. That's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
And I'm all because of hip hop. Look at all the lanes that have opened up.
Yeah.
It's great.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
Yeah. And quickly, speaking on beer collaborations, a good friend of mine is a owner of Hackensack Brewery over here in New Jersey, and they did a collaboration with Special K and Teddy Ted. Awesome too.
Mm,
Oh, what?
Yeah.
that's
Actually,
dope.
let me show you it real quick.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Man.
He's about to crack one open and drink it in front of us.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
See that real quick.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, what?
That's sick.
Wow.
Oh, that's sick. Hell yeah.
Collector's
Yeah.
item right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Shout out Hackensack Brewery.
New
Mm,
Yeah,
Jersey.
they're definitely working on that.
That's
that's,
dope.
I even tried to speak with Crime Apple, see if he might want to work with him. Being that he's from Jersey and everything.
Right.
that's what's
Yeah,
up.
right. Dang.
So tell us what sparked all three of you to make this album.
Well, okay. So I guess I'll start off because it kind of like so Soundcheck been doing this show for quite a while, even before Twitch and shit. So the Beat Junkies, we actually have our own radio station on this app called Dash Radio. So uh, by the time though, like it used to be all of us and stuff, but then again, like G says, we the our business started to grow. Like we just by that time we had our website, we had our merch. Then we just started our DJ school, so everybody had to kind of handle whatever. So I was left to do sound check. So I would do. I would always like so before I used to be I would do it live at the Dash Radio Studios in Dash Radio is almost like say like Sirius XM. There's different channels and stuff. Snoop Dogg has a channel on there. I forgot who else has a channel. But when I was finished with my set, I was walking out. Uh, Actually, I saw XP walking in. Or I think you were I think you were for a show for what I think it was on Delicious Vinyl Radio, right? I forgot who show you were doing.
Yeah, yeah. It was with the homie. Yeah, man. It was for another show that the homie Brian,
Oh,
homie
DJ
Brian,
Ice. Yeah,
DJ
DJ Ice.
Ice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. So
DJ Ice's show. Yeah.
yeah, so Ice it was funny because it's like so he was setting up for his show for yeah, Delicious Vinyl has their own radio station. So it was like he was setting up, he was a guest and stuff, and X was like, hey man, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. I'm XP the Marxman, da da da. And he gave me a CD. No, that's what Ice introduced us and shit like
Yeah, Ice introduced us. Yeah.
introduced right. And then you gave me your CD and stuff, and then I was looking at it, and then I was like, oh, where you work with Twins, Big Twins
Yeah.
from Infamous
Oh,
Mob.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that's and Twins is the homie, So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, word. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna go. It helps if someone that's like someone that can say quote unquote co-sign and stuff. I was like, okay, I'll definitely listen it to just because Twins is on it and shit like that. So um, I did listen to a little bit, but what really kind of sparked it out for me is like so there was a show uh, at a spot called Catch One, and it was a Rock Marciano show, and I actually DJ for Rock Marciano. So shout outs to Rock, shout outs to Jazz, who's Rock's manager. He reached out to me and say, hey, can you DJ for Rock? So that was cool. On the bill, it was funny. A lot of people were in the house and stuff. But on the bill, like I didn't know who was like the opening set and shit. but I found out that like shout out to my man Supreme Cerebral. Um, he was on the bill. I did, and he actually performed with X. I
Yeah.
think you guys were kind of sharing a set, weren't you?
I
Or
think
kinda?
I think no, I think I brought. I don't know if I brought him. I forgot how what I did so many shows there, but yeah, he happened to be in the building too, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then I had seen Red in the back room, and I was like, "Yo, Red," you know what I mean? But you want to continue, man?
Yeah.
Do it.
So basically, like, well, Supreme Cerebral was also one of my favorite MCs at the time. I mean, even now, but because he came on Soundcheck and would always like. It's funny when you have cats come on a radio show, and they, it's hard to see cats that really just know how to rock like a rock or freestyle over just beats and just go off like that. And he was just, to me, I mean, he's part of the Gold Chain music.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you know about like say like Planet Asia and Tri-State, they really spit. They just give them the mic. They can spit anywhere, anytime, whatever. And Supreme had that same thing.
He fits in.
So
Yep.
so what's crazy is like when I saw Supreme, he killed it. Then I saw X. It was the first time I seen X perform, and I was like, oh shit, X was pretty dope. So after the show was over, I was walking out and then ran into X, and he was just like, yo man, oh yeah man, like, and he actually says, uh we should do something. I was just like, word. Well, it's like I'm finishing up at the time I was working on the Visionaries
Right.
album, right? But I was just like, and it's like I haven't, like, if I, once I free up and shit, yeah, man, let's see what happens. And then after the Visionaries project was over, then he reached out to me and stuff, and I sent him some beats, whatever. And next thing I know, he came back like a day or two with like two or three songs. I was like, oh shit. So this is so and it was, for me, it was like I got busy because I was like I was doing sound check, I was teaching at the school, I was doing stuff for my mom's, visionary stuff. So but he kept, X was really cool about being always follow-ups and stuff, and that kind of helped me to, like, even though I was busy, he always reached out to me to make sure it's in my head, so I know.
Just say I bugged you, bro. Just say he bugged the shit out of me.
He didn't. He didn't. No, you were no bugaboo. No, he wasn't a bugaboo. But he was really just to make sure, like, hey, like he was very respectful about it and stuff like that. But
and then COVID hit too, man.
Yeah.
Remember? And
So-
then COVID hit.
yeah, so COVID we were trying to figure out things. Yeah, that was a thing, because we were kind of originally gonna kind of do an EP and stuff, but then again, it's just, I've also, like, I was kind of like, man, let me switch some beats here and there, because some of the beats I gave him were new and some were old, right? So it was just like, let me do that over and shit. Fast forward like about a year, like about maybe a year and a half later, D would start like. D would once in a while, like, he was like, yo man, what do you think about he said, what do you think about Conway, what do you think about this and this, like, we were just like, because I was like, oh shit, where D? Because D's one of the great, to me, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest scratch musician on earth or in the planet.
Facts.
Yeah.
What? Come on.
And I say that.
But
But like, but
you guys are, man. Both of you guys are.
That's D. I just, but D, like, but a lot of people don't know D did production before. When I first met D, he was doing beats. He had a group called Third Sight, so, and man, I remember when you played me this shit, like, off the tapes, and then like when you put out the 12-inch rhymes like a scientist. Oh man, it's probably one of the best. Like, sorry, D, I'm blowing you up right now, but like, dude, for like, in terms of like the transitions of like of scratch solos and scratch hooks, D, like, he pretty much was like, if you YouTube Third Sight rhymes like a scientist, he pretty much set the song first before Jihad, who was his MC at the time, dude, he had a whole verse to himself, scratching solos and shit. But this is when all the new styles of scratching was coming up. Like, so it was like he was, the flare scratch was coming out at the time and stuff. So, and D was always ahead of his time in terms like that. Like, I'll break it down this way. So, the flare scratch was invented by, and correct me wrong, D. Like, it was invented by a cat named DJ Flair from the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
So, but Qbert was the one that actually kind of brought it out officially to the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when D used to try to show us the flare scratch here, and like just to the junkies. He would like. This is the craziest thing about our history is that the pickles and the junkies we came up, even though like Qbert and Mixmaster Mike and Apollo were the gods and shit, like terms of what it is, we all came up together one way or another, and we used to all hang out because of at the time, the early '90s, at least on the West Coast, DJ was played out. No one, like, it was mostly on the rappers and stuff, and no one, like, no one was really DJing and stuff. They were just, rappers mostly had DAT players now at the time, right? So what we do, a lot of, if you really think about it, the East Coast had the X-Men and the Superman, and then Bay Area had, well, not even Rock Steady Crew DJs, and then us and stuff like that. We all, being northern Southern California, we all kind of like, met through the battle scene or had friends in common and stuff, and we just talk about it. But yeah, so long story short, D was like pretty much like Q would try to show us the flare, but D technically taught us. Like D brought the flare scratch to LA. We brought the flare scratch technique to LA. Like D taught us how to do the flare scratch. So he was ahead of his time. So my joke, and he hates hearing this. I call him the scratch scientist because he can break down shit to
Thanks, Rhett.
History right now.
That's history. Hey, but all right. So let me take over from here, Rhett. So during the whole COVID lockdown, I was hitting up Rhett like, hey man, let's do a project, Rhett. Like I had just finished the Widowmaker record, and I had just finished Noah the Flood, Creme de la Creme, and I was like, Rhett, let's do a project. And Rhett told me, you know what, I started this EP with XP the Marxman, and I was like, let me check it out. Send me some beats. I want to hear this. I want to hear XP. So he sent me like 3 or 4 songs that they had, and I was like, yeah, man, I can definitely rock with this cat, man, for sure. And so I was like, let me be part of this. Ask XP if it's cool. If I could jump on and I could maybe produce 4 more songs or whatever. And that's basically how it came to fruition.
Yes, sir.
There you go. So yeah, you know what I mean, and that's and then from there, we jumped on a Zoom call, and we were just sending beats to XP. He would send back files, a couple days later, and yeah, we were just we were hyped, man.
Let me tell you, when D sent him some shit, dude, I was like, oh, he made me like, okay, I gotta get my shit back. I was like, okay, like, and especially it was cool to hear D on the beats. He wasn't making beats in a long time, so he was doing scratch music. So when D and I started talking about like, oh man, who you feeling now? He's like, you're checking out for like Derringer, or you're fucking with this, you're fucking with that. It's like, okay, so and then when I heard the beats, it was like, oh, it made sense when we were talking about it, because this is D's, like, if you know D, sorry D, I'm putting you on the blast. But D's are very, very musical, but also very, his style is very dark, or grimy in many ways.
Grimy.
So it fit. So when I heard the shit that he did with X, I said, oh dude, you're back. Well, before that, when he did the shit with Noah, I said, man, it's so good to hear you back on the beats, because D hadn't done beats in a long time, shit. So
yeah,
that when then he starts sending more beats to X, that put a fire in my butt. Pause. So like I was like, okay, I better step it up because right now D's killing it. I mean, he's always
Yeah, I was
killing
gonna
it.
say.
But so and yeah, that's how it is and shit. That's uh, because of that. Uh, it actually made us start Beat Junkie Sound, which we had our own label before, and we relaunched it. So because of that, and then man, shit.
We
Uh,
also had a different title too at first. We had a whole different
Oh,
name, different title.
Ah, what was
Yeah,
that?
it was crazy.
that's right.
Remember
yeah,
that shit? We were like super, set on it. It was gonna be called Tom Fears, which was the first Mexican American NFL Hall of Famer, and he played for the Rams. So like the
It
Rams,
all was.
just won. So I was like, all right, let's use this energy, you know what I mean, from
Yeah.
the city, because I guess it always was gonna revolve around like just the West, you know what I mean, and like you know what I mean. So I guess just having that, and then like we kind of went through a couple names. We threw a couple names out there, but I think D was the one, right? That sparked the PST, Pacific Standard Time. I was like, you know what? There it is, man. There it is. Like, fuck yeah. That's the shit. That's what it is. That's what we running with, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. Crazy. There it is right there. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes,
Dope,
sir.
dope.
yeah, it was D's idea in terms of like putting the chucks in there, like, and then if you listen to D's side, it's like how he was talking about gang banging. That's why he put all that all the shit.
No, yeah, but D knows what it is. Like,
Yeah, dude. Like
because I think and it
D's
and
D's DL on some gangster shit.
No, no.
yeah,
Don't
It's
that's
all
when we
peace.
gang banging at night. Fool, that's when we leaving the
you
crib and fucking gang
know what they
banging.
say, you know what they say? Watch out for the quiet ones.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
So
Um,
what made
yeah.
y'all decide on side A being all these styles and then side B all Rhettmatic production?
Like I think it just happened that I had 4 songs and Rhett had, well, actually Rhett had about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But I just felt like, sound wise and like just for the album to be cohesive, I feel like it only made sense that I could kind of put all my songs together and be able to transition it from one to another. And then Rhett, having a different sound, his own sound, he's able to put his songs together. You know what I mean? So it was just easier that way, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was we were talking about like how we're gonna do the transitions and all that stuff, or how we're gonna put it in order. And then D says, let's just do it like this side and this side, especially when we started conceptualizing like in terms of the vinyl and putting up a cassette, like that. So, I mean, if you get the cassette, you actually get all songs and stuff. Or if you go to if you stream it, you get the whole songs. But on the vinyl, you only can have a certain amount of time to have the quality. You put more songs, it gets the quality of the audio, the quality, the quality of the audio is gets not really good. So it actually kind of worked out, So
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, you can say also it's like D and I is like it's like the uh, different sides of the same coin. Like we still have that we like, but you hear there's a different there's you can hear our styles are different. Whereas he likes more slow, and sinister. Whereas I'm more just bang your head against the wall type shit. So it complements our shit complements each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I love, and D Styles has been doing a great job at this with the 2 previous projects, always keeping the DJ in mind with remixes and the extended versions.
Oh, right, right.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, the remix that's a crazy thing too. Also, when we talk, like I know he did that with his own projects, having other remixers. So this one, when we did remixes for this particular album, we really went we went for the Rolodex and shit like that. So
For
we
rolling.
picked like D went for the people he that he liked, and I went for the so we had the people. He choose his remixers to remix his shit, and then I choose the people to remix my shit. Like so, and it worked out and stuff. So, I mean, it's crazy because you had. I haven't heard Gray Boy did a beat in a long time. So he had Gray Boy.
Hey boy, yep.
Yep. Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown from the UK. Yep.
Yep, he's dope. Max came from the Bay stuff. Widowmaker.
Widowmaker, yep.
And then I reached out to, of course, tapped into J Rock.
Yeah.
Jake gave me one.
Yeah.
Nico
J-Rawls
Orock.
on there.
Yeah, J Rawls. So J Rawls. Anyway, side note: J Rawls and I myself have an album coming out. Called, Rhettmatic. It's called Roller
Oh
Whistle.
man.
Same.
So, but what do you call it? Nico Orock, who's formerly known as Nico Beats. So
Okay.
he's Babu's son and he's my godson. He's a dope producer and engineer. He's worked with this new cat named Huey Briss from Long Beach. So yeah, Nico's like I had him on there. Had who else? Giallo. Yeah, I know him.
Giallo Point.
Giallo. Is it
Giallo
Giallo? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jello for
Giallo
Great
Point,
Division. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I also had Stu Bangers.
Stu Bangers.
Still bangers.
And
Yeah.
then what do you call it? 14
Willie
KT.
B.
Oh,
Yeah.
homie Willie
14
B.
KT.
So that's what do you call it? That's X's boy right there. He's X's
Yeah, yeah, the homie William Bostic, man. He's from New York and shit. You know, he's a engineer, DJ out of New York. And whenever I'm out there, you know, I book some time to go to his. You know, he's ill, man. He produces, engineers, DJs. He's a talented
Nice.
dude, man. You know, shout out to my dude.
Oh,
Facts.
he's from New York. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's from New York.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I mean, we're pretty happy. At least so far, the response we've been getting.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, X really did a great job of just making sure he's like he made it easier for D and me for sure.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure,
for sure.
you know,
Thank you guys, man.
and then he has a great team, so it helped us too. Like whatever we have our team, but X had a great team where he even had his own video crew, and
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, that helped a lot too.
And graphic design.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to Orlando.
Shout out to
Orlando,
Orlando.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah, because
Orlando.
yeah, man, and like I said, like we had to redo the name cover, so we had this dude do a whole cover and do promo, and he's a team player, man. You know what I mean? So he knows what time it is, man, and he's just always really good about just capsulizing what I envision, and he's a one shot kill, man. I don't really have to be like, hey, no, change this. Like I just let him know what I need done, and he just executes, man. And he's been a really big factor of how the projection of the project rolled out, and like the videos and like a lot of the promotional aspect was like done by him, and it's one of a kind stuff. It isn't like slapped together, and it's like some shit that I I feel proud to bring to these guys and be like, hey man, I think we should use Orlando because he just and I think you know giving him a chance to do this, he really hit the nail on the head, because there was a lot of times where I was really like, dang, how are we gonna project this? You know what I mean? Like, visually, and he would be like, hey Mijo, check your inbox. And I'm like, boom, and we have like a promo video, or we have yeah, man. So it really helped the whole process, and D and Rhett are just really good at just relaying shit and everybody being down with it, because it's like it's we're all coming together on this. We all have other agendas too, like Rhett said, we got families and we have obligations, but I think we came together knowing that this was going to be something for the coast, because we're in a time right now where it's a I would say it's a East Coast dominated field right now in terms of the raw rap and the resurgence of things. So I felt like they were inspired as much as I was. Like, yo, we got to shoot a missile from the west too. We got to let fools know that we're here too as well. You know what I mean? And
I
you
like
know,
that.
we've been getting embraced from all regions, man, from east, overseas. So I just feel like not only did we do that, but we did an album for hip hop. You know what I mean? It's a hip hop album. The DJ is all over that shit. Like, and honestly, man, I just when I hear this album, it's like, you know, it has that album feel because there's just scratches in there that are amazing. And then, like I told Rhettmatic too as well, I was like, I feel like we hit them with two albums because the remix album has a whole different aspect to it, has a whole different
Yeah.
feel. So I feel like, you know, giving the fans and the supporters and just everybody who you know supported this album, another one right after is like we got to give them a little bit time to choose what songs they really like because they could like one from the original one and then like the other one too, but not as much as the original or more. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are different, and I'm hearing like, oh, I like this one more. So honestly, man, I feel like all the producers that killed the remixes, they gave us their best, and it's just really ill, man. And like I said, I'm sitting back and I'm just enjoying this shit as a fan, but also an artist that has worked my way up, man. Just to be in the same room, and you know be able to work with these guys, man. So yeah, G,
Shit.
it's
Let me tell you, I told D that we better work with him dude before he starts really blowing up and shit because he's like
He did. He did say that. Yeah.
because I see him. He's like, oh, he's doing the whole album with Shoot Chappelle. Wait, oh, you just did something with Rock Marcy? What?
oh, that
Oh,
shit.
he's
Little
doing
by little, man. Little by little, man. And it's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, when I tell my story, man, I want to be able to tell a story because what's a story without ups and downs, dog? You know what I mean? You have to have a high
Yeah.
point to where you can get a low. You know what I mean? And being an artist, man, it's just like Rhett and D said, is like you come to a point where you really have to create something for yourself to where if you are gonna do this shit, like you're gonna do this for the rest of your life. So you have to create a way of feeding your family and even if you do have to get a 9 to 5 to supplement for the income that isn't happening out of the music. I mean, we do what we got to do. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I feel like if you love this shit, there's no excuses. You're gonna be able to create it, fund it and put it out right. And if and everything takes a team if you want it to be done right. And I feel like linking with these brothers, man, them already being on their business shit and like being on that mindset, it helped me elevate as well and like meet them halfway, you know what I mean? Because usually I do shit at my own pace because I do it all myself, and linking with individuals that are like, yo, we got fucking deadlines, we got this, we got that's what you want to link with, man, because it puts you in a mind state to where you want to meet them halfway. Like I said, you want to be able to bring some shit to the table too, so we could all eat, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's what we did with this album, man. Because like I said, I only met D that one time a couple weeks ago, man. But I felt like when I met him, it was like, yo, like we did this whole fucking crazy project, and like
Yeah.
I'm barely, meeting my man in the flesh. So it's like, but I felt like the energy was there, and then not only I was able to meet him, but I was able to rock a set with this dude, and like with Rhett the energy was already there. And I feel like when we did a show, I think it was like maybe 3 weeks prior to that one, right? At the Back to Basics.
Mhm.
And I felt like the energy was crazy. Like we didn't rehearse nothing. I just told him, Rhett, these are the songs we're gonna do. I've been rehearsing. Let's go. And like Rhett was like cutting shit up. And I just like it's a different energy when you perform with these dudes because they're showmen to the max, like to the max. So they do with their hands what I do with the mic. So when you put us together, it's like that's what I saw, that's what I felt. I was like, man, like I said, man, I'm gonna keep on saying it. Like any motherfuckers out there that wanna, book us, bring us out, like get at us, man, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to, this album has that energy that needs to be on a stage, and it's already been proven. So I just feel like we need to do more of that, you know, bring the live energy to it, because that's where they come from too. I come from, you know, performing live, and you know, because I come from a group setting, so it's like I come from that as well. So I think now that we have this album, that's what that energy has. It carries that shit.
That
Yep.
this album's all about expression through the
Definitely.
hands and through the rhymes. You know, you put the culture in there perfectly. I love how y'all did that. You give more insight to oneself like that as well. You know, not just spitting lyrics to be rhyming. Like you said, everything is cohesive. It came together properly. And
Thank you, man.
also
Thank
with
you.
the features as well. You got Sick
Right,
Jack,
right.
and you got Rhyme Style Troop on there, Big Twins. And
Yep.
this is what, like your second or third time working with Big Twins? Because I remember he's on Nomads.
Well, Twin, he's been my brother for 10 years, man. Like I met
Mm.
Twin like 10 years ago when he first moved out here to LA, and how, like, honestly, it's like that storybook shit where, like, I'm at a hole in the wall spot, I'm performing with my group, and Twin walks in the fucking spot, bro. And like me and my group, we perform, we kill it, and like Twin was you know, with, you know, somebody at that time, and he sent him to us to be like, hey man, Twin's here. He wants to work with you guys and shit. And I was,
Wow.
it's crazy. Like when Twin
What?
walked it, and this was a hole in the wall spot in Glendale, California. Like, you know, it wasn't no crazy spot. It was like a dive bar joint, you know, and like um
You
and
never know.
it was even to the point where I could remember vividly, like the a DJ's a system was a CD shit, like a CD and like auxiliary to the speakers. So we fucking had our CD, the shit was skipped. So like we're like, all right, we're just gonna play instrumentals, and you know, the homie had an iPod or something, so he fucking put the iPod on there or some shit. Like it was around that time, and fucking man, dog, like we just did it over instrumentals, like some type of shit. And like Twin
Damn.
fuck with it. And that's how I met Twin. So I have tracks with Twin that are probably over 10 years old. Like if you go on YouTube and like shit like that, like I've been working with him for years, and he's actually the one that introduced me to Rock Marcy and like opened the doors, you know, for me to do these, you know, future projects, man. And he's, you know, yeah, man. And honestly, it's a trip because a lot of people ask me that, like, you know, Twin, you know, like, yeah, I said, like, yo, but that's like my brother. Like I've been knowing him for over 10 years now, and like, you know, he comes to my family gatherings. You know, my son and him have a good relationship, and it's like it's trippy because, like, you know, seeing him as a fan too. I'm growing up, like hearing him all over the Mob Deep shit too. It's like it's a trip now because, like, you know, and
You
you know what I mean? It's a trip, and it's a trip because, like I said, like I could hit him up, and like, yo, I need you, and he's there with a call, and I feel like he's always extended his hand not only to me, but you know, to my group, and just people that always, you know, been in my circle. And I feel like, man, he's really been a pivotal individual in me getting to these, you know, places, you know, for me to shoot my shot pretty much, man, you know. So yeah, and then we got Rhyme Style Troop on it. She's from San Diego.
San
This is
Diego,
a
yeah.
Yeah, she's
Dope.
an MC that I've been on for probably about a year and a half now. I've been seeing her on songs. She's been working with the Snow Goons and shit like that. So I was like, all right, you know, she's dope, but she's from, you know, she's not too far from where I'm from. You know, she's Latina. I was like, all right, you know, I fuck with that shit. You know, and she's kicking that raw shit. So I had went to a underground hip hop blog show, and she was at the smaller stage ripping that shit up and like ripping MCs, like she was battling fools, like killing them and shit. I was like,
Damn.
holy shit, like she could rhyme, you know. And then I heard her music as well. So not only did like I see her like spit some shit live and like do some freestyle off the top shit, but I also got to hear her music and hear, like, you know, how, because you know, a lot of MCs could be different how they sound on the mic to a performance. So so once I seen that, I was like, yo, she's dope, you know, and she's working with credible individuals. So I reached out to her, and you know, you know, she was with it, man, and you know, she's really dope, man, and I feel like more music will come with me and her in the future. I feel like, you know what I mean. So, yeah, man, she's been killing it. And then Rhett is the one that you want to speak about that, Rhett, about
Uh,
Sick Jack and shit like
Exactly.
that.
yeah. So I mean, Jack's the brother, man. That's what can I say? So got history with him too as well. It's interesting. The If you talk about that whole circle or the generation that D and I came from, it's interesting how like people are now making their waves now, like they're like revered or something like that. We all came up through the trenches together one way or another. So it's like I knew, like you know, obviously knew Psycho Realm because of Cypress Hill and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
side note, uh, Two Mix was supposed to be a member of Psycho Realm at one point.
Is that
uh,
right?
Yeah,
Wow.
What?
yeah.
Really?
Two Mex from was also from the Visionaries.
yeah,
Good Life,
yeah.
Project Road, OMD, and stuff like that. I mean, Two Mex and Sick Jack got an album. They're working on an album together and shit like that as we speak.
Fire.
But yeah, we all came out. We all came out through the trenches. Whether if you go to the Bay to do the Gavins, or if you're in LA, at least for a lot of people, there was this club called Unity and stuff. So there's rest in peace to Big Up B, who's
Bigger beat.
yeah, he was the one that he used to work for Loud Records. He was the one. He was actually the one that brought Wu Tang and uh, to LA. Like
The first time, right?
yeah, first time. If anyone, Unity, I guess, is equivalent to I don't know, it's just because New York at the time, of course, they had so many spots over there, but uh, I would say Unity is almost kind of like on some hip hop shit. It was like the Apollo. It was if you had to be on that bill to get that respect. Like if you'd say like say like if Wu Tang was on it, and if you were on the bill
The undercard.
on our card and shit like that, that was something. And the craziest thing, the crowd will tell you if you sucked or not. They will boo you ass and shit like that. So it was like I said, it was like during those. That's just even the '90s. I'm not even talking about even like the '80s and shit like that. But yeah, so uh, um, just to have I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
It's all
So,
good. Let me give you a little history.
oh shit! Wait, before you go, shout out to Percy P in the chat room.
Yeah, I was about to
Oh,
say that.
Percy
Yeah,
P. Hey,
yeah,
yo,
you can
shout out
check
to
them.
Percy. Yo, man, I remember, like, Percy knows us, like, we're the Rhymatics. He knows I suppose, because I think had him on a few shows, but I remember seeing him at all the events, man. Just always like you know pushing the culture, man.
Hmm.
And I don't know if he was with the Stone's Throw at that time. I think he was just living out here. I'm not too sure about the history on that, but I know he's been to every show that I was at, whether it be big to local. He was at them shits, bro. Back in the
So
day,
it's
I
all
remember that. It's
yeah.
crazy, man. Yeah, man. It's crazy. Just hearing that Tumex was gonna be a part of the Psycho Realm. Like, I'm a fan of this shit, bro. I've been a fan of the Psycho Realm too. So it's like there's a lot of elements, man, when it came to the collaborations on the project. It's like I guess they weren't like super like, yo, y- you know we need them on it, but let's shoot our shot and let's see if they're
Mhm.
willing to be a part of it. And I felt like once they heard what we were cooking up, they were with it. You know what I mean? So
We
that's
could have
pretty
some.
much
We could have some other cats, but everything worked out for a reason, like
right.
X says. So what we have is it was meant to be.
That's a fact. It's a fact.
Crazy. Yeah, peace to Percy P. Man, um, during the time in New York City when I was buying a lot of records in stores compared to now, where most of what I buy is online. I used to always see him, outside of Fat Beats. Always always giving him his respect. Get what he had to say.
Yeah, he always
Cops and
kicked that shit.
CDs. And the crazy thing is, speaking of Fat Beats, the first Visionaries 12-inch I bought was from Fat Beats. That was Love Hip Hop in '97. Was it '97? Yep.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the B side on that was Blessings. That's
Blessings. Yep.
That's produced by J Rock. So, a lot of people don't know that. So he gave us one of our biggest hits. So, but
Pay the
yeah,
man, pay the
I've been paying him ever since.
Percy P was saying, he was on Stone's Throw, still supporting the grassroots hip hop scene.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro, hell yeah. I'm telling you, man, that he was at all the shows, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, man, I think the LA hip hop scene has, it's not. They don't have like these shows happening like every week no more. Obviously, COVID killed a lot of that shit, but now you just got like set ones that are really, popping. I would say, you got Upblog and certain, promoters that are willing to bring artists out and put together these events. But I feel like the whole grassroots LA hip hop scene now is just a lot of MCs trying to get on those opening acts of these big shows. And I'm because I'm not. I mean, unless I'm hella off, and but honestly, man, like I come from this LA scene. I've opened up for everybody and anybody that was out here, man. From the pay to play to the to the getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So now, So now I could really see like who's really out here active and moving around, moving and shaking, and really investing in themselves. Actually, that's what it really is investing in yourself and believing in yourself that you know you're worthy enough of good graphics, you're worthy enough of good beats, good good mixing, mastering, you know what I mean? So but I want to hear from my man D, man. I was in the cut just chilling right now.
I'm just chilling.
I told you got to be careful of them quiet guys, man.
I know he's just watching it.
No, fun facts right here. Percy P says Rhettmatic was the first person to ask me to move to Los Angeles in 1996.
Yeah, that's fire.
Wow, that's dope.
See, come on, Rhett, you're inspiring fools to move to Cali, man.
Right?
Well, D, look, I think I told you this, D, right? I mean, it was the first time that it was kind of like, this is the concept where the Visionaries actually kind of started. It was Babu, Kiku, myself, and Elemento. The first time in Chicago, we were promoting the Cosmonauts album, the only album that Kiku and I did.
Right.
Of course, we had Visions on there. We were there. We went to a show, and it was man, I forgot what's his name. EC Illa, remember EC Illa?
Yeah. EC.
So it was EC Illa and Percy P at that show, right?
Okay. Right.
So when I was like, I mean, EC, I remember they were playing EC's video on Rap City and shit, but it was crazy when he seen Percy P. I was like, Percy P and Ecam, like rhyme collapsing lyrics, lung collapsing lyrics. Percy P. He said, yeah. Oh, dude, I geeked out from there.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, ironically, we was just telling. I was like, yo, man, if you ever come to LA, you need to come out and shit, dude.
Right.
And,
Man,
that's dope.
And then it's funny because I guess at the time, he was doing his shit in New York and Fat Beats and stuff. And next, he came out to LA. So I remember when I saw him in LA, he was like, I'm here. I was like, oh shit. And then the rest is history. I mean, if you know the legend, if you know the history of Percy P, like X says, he's always at every show.
right.
Like,
You know what too? He used to be with one of his homies too, man. I forgot his name though, but he was always with him. He was a bigger dude. I forgot his name though. I know Percy knows what I'm talking about.
I forgot. I know.
I forgot his name though. Yeah, he was nice too, man. I remember them both at the shows, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, man. I think, Percy, he's been out here long enough to say that he's like, he's from the West Coast too. You know what I'm saying? Like he reps the West and he reps the East too. You know what I mean? Like facts.
Yeah.
You said
He
Percy
said
said,
AFX.
yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. There you go. But yeah, yeah, D, tell us some more about
Fun
you.
facts.
Fun fact? Nah, I'm just tripping out on your guys' stories, man. Like
Whatever.
a lot of that stuff I didn't know, man. So it's really dope to hear all that, you know.
Shoot. You know that D is cutting on a lot of the Big Ghost Conway
Yeah,
MC
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh right.
Man,
He's like, "Oh,
man.
Yeah. No. Okay.
What?
Here's a fun fact.
Uh-oh.
So um, so Rhettmatic was busy doing the last Visionaries album. So he couldn't. So Rhettmatic couldn't do the scratches for Big Ghost. So Big Ghost ended up hitting me up to do the cuts for Conway. So that's how I came on board. So honestly, I owe it all to Rhettmatic because he passed on it, and so that opened up the door for me right there. So thank you, Rhett, for that.
Man. I owe you a check.
Oh, man.
Man, I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
Big
I
Ghost.
was mind,
I'm sorry.
I was mind blown, seeing Hubert on the West Side Gun album and then D Styles on the Conway album at that time. I was like, wow, they really,
Oh, right.
they really doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how that all happened, man. But it's always been my, that's like my forte. Like, like I love doing scratch hooks like that. Like I came from the DJ Premier school. You know what I mean? That's my god right there. And so I
He's
learned
like,
from that.
dude. D's like, I would tell him this, dude. D's like the advanced version of Primo, basically. Like everybody would be doing. No, D was doing like I told you, he was ahead of time. He do when you do all the scratch phrases, hooks, and shit like that. He took what Premier did, but then flip it on the whole. You know, everybody's doing all the crazy other stuff, but D was like, man, yeah, I'm blowing up your spot, D.
Nah, man. No,
Man,
thank you, though. Thank you.
that was great. Now, the first release on Beat Junkie Sound, Rhettmatic, was Loops, Chops, Beats, and Vibes, Volume 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
XP the Marksman, also earlier this year, you dropped the Marksman album.
right, right.
So, I mean, y'all been on a great run right now.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I mean, it's honestly, man, it's a weird atmosphere to be in because, like I said, I come from when you drop an album and you just let fools marinate on that shit for as long as you want, bro. But I think the climate of music now, like you really gotta just be ahead of the game and just have something ready in the chamber, man. And just constantly work, whether it be on something that you're doing collectively or you're doing solo or just I think if you're working in this climate right now you have to have and if you got one in the chamber at least have a couple clips like
Yeah.
so you know what I mean I think yeah man I think with this album we had been working on it for what like about 2.5 years right with COVID and having that break because that took like a good chunk of time. Just because, I knew Rhett was working on the Visionaries project and, I didn't know D was going to come along and I was, you know what I mean? But, we had to roll with a lot of punches, with it. But, yeah, man, I think this was ready to go unknowingly after, Rhett dropped. I mean, even D dropped the shit with the Noah the Flood too, not too far, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I think we all kind of were ready because I was, I've been looking forward to this. So I was like, I think we're all at a good place to, come together because we got on a text thread and it was like boom, boom, man, boom, boom, man, man. Next thing you know, we got a full fucking project with we got a release date, D's on, so I feel like I said, working with these guys, man, it was super professional. Not even speaking of money aspect, but just to where everything, how everything was gonna roll out, how it was gonna be, projected, you know, and then handling, the physical aspects to it, like the vinyl and the tape, and you know, and I think coming together with like, the graphics and them handling the logistics on the physicals and things like that. I think it just all came together, man, and you know, it was a perfect time for this. I feel, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, timing was there for sure, man. Everything kind of just came together well. And it was dope because XP already knew a very dope graphic designer. He knew some people that would shoot videos. You know what I mean? So it made our jobs a lot easier. And what was crazy is XP would send us back his verses so quick. You know what I mean? And I like working fast, so that would inspire me when he would send me back, his rhymes. I would throw it into my computer. I would start,
Yeah, even then.
making the song
Yeah.
right away. So I,
He's
I was
yeah.
hype already. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
when I heard D shit, I was like, okay, D's cracking the whip. I better get my shit in chill and stuff like that. I'm like, I have D has a lot of things too as well as I do, but D's like he's like a excuse the term, he's like a machine. So it's like I when I brought D into this, like when and D said he wanted to be a big part of it, that helped me get more focused too as well. So it's like D and X says, it's a team effort. I mean,
Yeah.
like once I get motivated when I hear X spitting on D's beat, and I was like, I gotta. Not saying I got to do a better beat. I just gotta I gotta come with it. I don't want to be, it kind of it puts a fire in me. Just like try to bring out the best shit. When I heard Trunks, true story. I don't know if I ever told this to the guys and stuff, but when I heard Trunks, I was like, holy shit. Maybe go back and make Kuyas.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fire,
When I
fire.
heard when I heard Trump, I was like, dude, fuck this shit. I gotta come with it, dude. So I make kuyas. That's it.
Yeah, when they hit me up, man, I mean, when Rhett hit me up, for D to be a part of it, I mean, that was a no brainer, man. I was like, hell yeah, bro. Like, let's rock, and yeah, man, it just, you know, the timing was right, changing the name was right. Like, I guess everything that happened, like you said, like even the features, like whoever's on it, that's just, I guess everything just, panned out. Like even, the skits, that were on it. Shout out to D and Red on the skits. Like that has a lot to do with the album because it gives it an identity. I remember listening to like Wu albums and like hearing those fools chilling, and you hearing like,
Hmm.
skits and certain things. It gives you a sense of you're there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think they hit it on the nail with the intros and the skits they did for the project, man. And yeah, man. It definitely was a couple years that it took for this. So I mean, I feel like as much as it seems like quick, it took a few years, for it to be a project, even with D coming in later in the process, but that's how quick we worked though. I mean, like you said, I was saying it because I was super hype about this. I was looking, forward to this before I did the Rashid Chappelle project. You know what I mean? So this is, before the Marxman and even before that project. So I was like, this is something that I'm gonna hone in on and really, get to work on once we get back working. So once he came in the picture, I was like, all right, this is what we got to do. This is what we're doing. Let's go, man.
Like
That's
on
Definitely.
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Like X, like Dean and I says, like X made it more easy. I mean, at the same, and for me, I only can speak for myself. I was kind of nervous to see how the reaction we get from this and stuff. But it was interesting because like when I was doing sound check before D jumped. The irony is that D also jumped on board to do sound checking. I used to do it solo
Yeah.
on Twitch,
Thanks.
right? I had uh, Ice Rocks.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout out to my G Icy.
I had Ice Rocks, and I forgot was the cat that they had the album with. So and they told me they were working. They were working with XP. I didn't know at the time. And they off the air, they told me, it's like, yeah, we heard your shit with X. I was like, I didn't know it, and I didn't know what he means. It's like, yo, that shit's kind of grimy, dude. I was like, really? This is before D even jumped on. So it's like, okay, but like, again, I didn't know. For me personally, I was nervous to see how people react to our shit, to this particular project, and I only can say is, it's like, man, um, very very surprised and appreciative of how the response that we've been getting.
Facts.
That's dope, man. I love the energy that y'all projecting right now on the interview, and hopefully one day I get to see all y'all perform in New York City.
There we
Oh,
go.
man. Yeah.
Set that up, G. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, with the
Will there be another video for this album?
yes, for sure, for sure. I was actually chopping it up with Rhett at the beer release a few weeks back about getting some shit done, man. So yeah, definitely. But I feel now like I want to, because I feel like a couple of the videos were like, they're dope, you know, and shout out to my man's because he's always coming through for me. But we do better shit when we got more time to, put it together. And I'm not saying that we rush anything at all, but I feel like more maybe, cinematic shit, maybe use one of the skits to, be a part of it or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, do something more artsy, I would say on this one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's ill. And as far as physicals, for all those listening, definitely go out there and support the physicals.
Right.
Very, very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, we still have some vinyl available and cassette tapes. And you can cop that at our Bandcamp. Rhett, what is the Bandcamp? The exact
Yes,
Bandcamp?
yes, it's junkiesound.bandcamp.com.
There you
That
go.
that's for the vinyl and the cassettes. But if you go to xpthemarksman.com,
You
you
can
can
get
get,
the hard copy remix album.
yep, and some
Yeah.
shirts.
Yeah, we got
Yep.
some
And
shirts too.
shirts.
Yeah, we got some shirts. Hey,
Dope.
did you guys get yours by any chance?
No, not yet.
No,
I left them for you at the
Oh,
I
did
gave
someone
them
you?
took.
to
You know what?
I gave them
I was supposed to give it to you, D, but you took off, and then someone took it.
Someone gaffled it?
Yep.
What?
I got you, D. I got you.
Okay. It's all good. Wow.
Shit, I'm waiting
I
for the
got
black
you.
shirt, though.
No,
Gaffled.
yeah. Every time I see Red, he's like, yeah, I'm still waiting for the black. I got you, dog. I got you. I promise you. I promise you. Even when even if it gets cold and we just do like one of one hoodies for all of us or something, and then you know
Oh, yeah.
do some shit like that.
That'd
Some
be
black
sick.
hoodies.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
That'd be sick.
And
Sorry,
for
guys.
those still tuning in, I put the links for XP the Marksman website to go check out and support the remix CD, as well as Junkie's Bandcamp for the vinyl and cassette.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
sir. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Word?
So you got the remix on physical then? Yeah. That's right.
Word.
That's what was really ill about the tape, man. Was that like, what I mean? One side had the original, the other side
Mm-hmm.
had the remixes, man. I was like, yo, that's no shit. That's no shit.
yeah.
And yo, Rhett and D, I just want to ask you guys, would you say this is one of the more like grimier projects that you've done? Because I know you did shit with Noah the Flood, and I know you've done shit with the visionaries and shit like that. But would you say like as far as like beat wise and shit like that, like the feel of like the hard beats and like, would you say this is more on that side or you've done this before, like you've been around this way before?
D, go ahead, kick it off.
I would as far as yeah, I would say lately, yeah, for sure, especially like West Coast, like with that West Coast sort of lifestyle, you know what I mean? Just
Right, right.
with the skits and the you know like all the stories that you were telling. So that's what made me kind of want to tell like this this California West Coast sort of landscape, you know what I mean, with the samples and all that stuff, man. So yeah, you definitely brought that out for sure.
Fire, fire.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've always had grimy beats, but you were one of the first people to actually pick them and shit like that. So
Oh, what?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have, I work with some cats and stuff, but
Yeah,
like,
hell yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's like you
raw
pick
shit.
one. I was like, you pick some really. I was like, most of the time when I give some raw shit, it's like they don't pick it. I was like, all right, whatever. And then X picked the ones. I was like, okay, that's it. All right. So
That's what's
yeah.
up.
So yeah, I guess yeah. This is probably in some ways one of the most grimiest shit I ever did.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
Sick.
Man, Red, I gotta say, you gave Aloe Black on that Blackmatic some beats though.
Oh shit, that's a
Ooh.
that was made in 2004. Seriously.
What? Wow.
That was yeah.
Yeah. So that was right before he got signed to Stone's Throw, and that was like him and Eminem, well him and Exile, they were doing their own thing and shit like that. I mean they do shows as Eminem, and this is when I discovered that Aloe can sing.
Can you give me some
Mm.
So
trees from the bag?
so this is before when he got the Stone, he started singing and shit. But when I seen him like perform when he did one of the songs on their Find a Way, I was like, who's this? Oh, that's me. He's like, what?
Oh shit. That's
Shit.
crazy.
So it's crazy because it was supposed to be on his Stone's Throw album, but for whatever reason didn't make it. So it ended up being a B-side, one of his singles on Stone's Throw. So, I mean, shit. The fact that he agreed to having that album be released, because he's Aloe's a big star now and shit like that. So he just I was grateful for that. So, but yeah, thank you. That's like some of my old beats right there and shit right there. But guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What's that?
I got son duties to do. So
Okay, yeah, I understand. I got two of them.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm my mom's caretaker, so she's asking me to do some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but sorry I have to cut out, but thank you for having me.
Just 5 more minutes, right? 5 more minutes.
Shit, that's what I was asking you about for some mixes, dude. Yeah. Hey, Ian, you probably got D to talk more than the rest of us in this shit. So consider that a blessing.
Oh man.
Man, but yeah,
Well,
I gotta go, guys. But salute.
Okay, Rhett.
Yeah,
Peace.
DX. I'll
All right,
what you guys.
all right, brother Rhett.
Okay.
Please.
Salamat.
Ah,
There you go.
Dope, man. Yeah,
Alright.
definitely great energy tonight. I appreciate that. And
Yeah, man.
it is the birthday of hip hop.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
This album definitely shows the essence of hip hop all around.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man. Thank you.
Man, is there anything else you would like to let the people know before we go?
Man, I mean, we're still pushing the project, man, and hopefully, in the future, we're gonna let this one bubble out, and hopefully, in the future, man, we can come back with some new shit, man, because I feel
Yeah,
like
man.
working with these brothers on this project only it sparks some crazy shit for the future. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
We'll
Definitely.
play it by ear, and hopefully, like I said, man, people can catch some live shows and shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, you know what I mean?
X, you got something dropping soon with is it Flea Lord?
Yeah, with
Yeah, yeah.
Flea,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Flea,
I
What's up
yeah.
with
saw that.
that? What's up with
Yeah,
that right
so
there?
yeah, I'm actually sneak peek. I'm actually flying out to New York, man. I think
What?
I'll be out there like in about maybe like a week or two. I'm gonna shoot that video with him,
Wow.
and I'm probably gonna just drop it as a Lucy, but we'll
Okay.
see. I might attach it to a little something, man, because I'm always cooking up. But like I said, I really want the PST shit, to really breathe and embed itself in the listener's ear and shit before I tune into something else. Like
Right.
with all my projects, man, I just hope people, whether I drop this, they could go back to the shit that I previously dropped. And like I said, working in this climate right here, man, is a trip because you always got to keep shit in the chamber. So I'm always gonna have something,
Yeah, man.
something coming, man. So yeah, man, that's
Oh,
gonna be coming soon.
hell yeah.
Dope. And isn't Rhettmatic doing the cuts on that track?
Yeah, Rhett's on the cuts. Yeah,
There it is. Icing on the
yeah,
cake.
Yeah.
Rhett's on the cuts. Yeah, man. So
Sick.
should be a
Sick.
good one, man. Definitely be a good one.
Yeah, can't wait to hear that, man.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, man. And
Yeah.
it's a trip because my man Wu Ill, he's from Chile. He made that beat with me and Flea in mind, and he had like shot it over to me like before I met Flea, to do the song and everything. So I had that beat with XP and Flea Lord on it,
Right.
and when we were in the lab together, and I was like, I'm just gonna that's the first one I'm gonna play because it just had that feel. He's like, yeah, that's the one we're rocking with. So
That was it.
my
Right off
homie
the bat.
was super stoked. Yeah. My homie's from Chile. He was just like, yo, man, I'm thankful, man. Thank you so much. So he's dope though, man. He got the skills too, So
Right.
he put himself in that position, I'm saying, to create something for him and his country, man. Because he said the whole country's on that shit where they're super
Ah,
supportive of like their hip hop scene and shit like that. So
Okay.
it'll be a good win for him and wherever he's from and shit. So he's looking forward to it too, man. It's gonna be a good record for sure.
that's dope.
Oh,
Dope, dope,
oh,
dope. Cool. Before we go, I know XP, you got a show coming up in a few months with Big Twins and Big Noise.
Right,
East
right, yeah.
House. Do you have any shows coming up you want to let the people know about?
I might have something in December, but that's still far away. But that's in Norway. So
Ah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sick.
kind of far, but yeah, yeah, yeah. But hopefully that show happens, man. Because I do I do miss doing shows. Like it was fun rocking with XP and Rhett, and just being in front of a crowd and feeling the energy and like I miss that, man. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, it was a good feeling. It was,
definitely.
what I mean. So yeah, like I said, I hope we could do a little bit more of that for the album.
Hmm.
Also, drop a few more videos as well, and give them some live shows and let it bubble. Like I said, because I feel like people need to really listen to that shit, and soak it up, man. And anything that D dropped, you know, uh, before that, Red, check that shit out too, man, because I think it all leads to that,
Yeah, man.
pretty much.
definitely, definitely. Dope, dope, man. 2022 is your year, man. Keep doing
Thanks,
your
man.
thing.
We're getting it. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Everyone out there, go support Pacific
Yeah,
Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time, baby.
there it is. PST.
Yes, sir.
Man. Let the
Appreciate you,
people
man.
definitely, I appreciate it. Um, give you shout outs, let the people know, like we said before, where they can support your music as well as PST.
Go ahead, D.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta shout out my man Jerry D. He's the one
Right.
that mixed the album. And then I gotta shout out my man Eprom out in Poland. who mastered the album, man. So they
Facts.
definitely helped with with the sound and just dialing
Absolutely.
in the
Yeah.
right frequencies and everything. So yeah,
Yeah, facts. Shout out to the engineers, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. Facts, man. They definitely did their thing.
yep.
XP, you got any
Oh
shout
yeah,
outs?
yeah. Sorry, man.
That's all good.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Orlando once again for helping us out with the graphics and everything. You could check them out on IG at Orlando Graphics underscore BNG, I believe it is. But
Yeah,
you can look on my page, yeah, and check him out. He's pretty much doing everything that I release. So and shout out to all the features on the project. And yeah, man, you can check out pretty much everything at XP the Marksman, and that's XPTHEMARXMAN, and that's on pretty much all platforms, And we're gonna keep hitting them, man. Like I said, I know D's gonna keep dropping shit, and yeah, man, we got some shit that we're gonna keep hitting them with for sure.
Dope, dope. Mm. Being that we have Latino representation and Asian representation, I just want to give a shout out to two Filipino artists that I've been listening to for quite some time that from the West Coast. One is Low Leaf, dope producer,
Low Leaf, yeah, yeah,
TJ. Um, Bamboo, who I've been listening to for
Yeah,
many,
bamboo,
many years.
right.
bamboo's dope.
And then for the Latinos, I gotta give it up to Gavlin. She's
Gavin,
constantly
yeah,
doing her thing.
I
Gavin,
used to
Um,
yep.
rock with Gavin way back in the day. That's the homegirl for sure.
Wow,
that's
okay.
dope. That's dope. And Velda Wonder is definitely,
Facts.
making
Shout
her
out to
dip.
that. Facts. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Shout out.
That's
Facts.
dope, man. On behalf of HHDG Media, thank you and peace.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you, man.
Thank you, Ian.
Peace to everybody in the chat. Everybody tuning in, man. Peace.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Peace.